less than a person. And it's not, obviously.
Right.
In the light of day, that does not stand up.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, the societal pressures that to conform to society. When you step outside of the conforming society kind of pushes you back into that box.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So anyway, this bill is very important, and we have been sort of waiting for this for a long time.
Yes, too long.
Yeah, too long, exactly.
And we won't have a bill number until the session starts and it gets raised.
That's right.
Do we know if it's going to be raised in the House or Senate first?
No, it depends on the legislators, what they decide.
Who brings it?
Right. It most likely will be a House bill. For the last couple of years, it has been. Because in the Senate, we have less opposition. It did get voted on in the Senate about 3 years ago, and there was only like 4 people that voted against the bill in the whole Senate.
There was overwhelming support for it.
Yeah.
Everywhere it went, it was overwhelming support. They just never made it out of the House because of the last minute. So.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah.
And I know there's certainly a lot of that has to do sort of with the way the whole General Assembly is set up. It's just sort of,
right.
makes that kind of thing happen. I know that it's not just us and it's not just our bill. This happens, but the political system is sort of set up to do that.
Well, we have a new Speaker of the House, Donovan, who's this would be his second term as Speaker of the House. And before that, the Speaker was not that gung-ho for passing the bill, so he never really pushed it.
Sure.
So hopefully Donovan will.
Yeah, that would be good. Hopefully this will be our year. Well, or next year will be our year.
Yes.
But it's
this
coming
session.
up in this upcoming session.
Should we talk a little about CT equality? Or?
Sure.
Yes, there's an organization that was formed this spring called Connecticut Equality, CT Equality. There used to be an organization called Anti-Discrimination Coalition, and it's kind of been reorganized and rebranded as Connecticut Equality. With new people and new organizations stepping in, it's really gaining momentum. We're getting a lot more support than we had in the past.
Yeah.
We have a very broad base now in the coalition to help pass the bill, because we can't really do it on our own, but we need friends and allies to step in and help. So that's where Connecticut Equality comes in.
Yeah, and we've got some information on our website now about CT Equality and the information that they've got out, the preliminary information they've got out about the bill that will be raised and how people can help support it. And if you're out there and you're transgendered, CT Equality is looking for your stories. There's a link on their website where you can submit your good and bad stories, which they'll use to help educate legislators when it comes time to garner support for the bill. And they are ctequality.com. And they have Facebook and Twitter feeds that you can subscribe to and participate and follow. And we'll be following them as well. We have an RSS feed on our website to follow their page.
Yeah, and you really don't have to be trans to put your story, tell your story.
That's true, right. Allies as well.
Allies. If one of your neighbors transitioned, you can help them because you have experience. You know what they went through to transition, and your stories are even stronger than ours because you see it from the outside looking in, how it affects us, and family are also important. Employers. If you had an employee that transitioned, well, tell your story, how you handled it, how smoothly it went, So we can use everybody's stories.
Unfounded fears.
Yeah, that's important too, Just saying you were afraid of what the other employees would feel, but once it happened, everybody was accepting.
Yeah.
And it really goes a long way to help persuade legislators.
That's true, and which basically means that the short of it is every one of you out there watching, either on TV or on the web later, who've followed us for the 2 years now that we've been on the air have gotten to know us and the people that we've had on as guests, and it's up to you now as well to help sign up those stories and help educate our legislators.
Well, even the viewers have a story, because they've seen us, they saw how we interact and how we behave, and just write something about that, or just tell a story.
Sure.
I came across this TV show, and it really made a difference.
And we've heard that in person, and now we just need all of you that have told us that in person. Go to www.ctequality.com, and there's a link along the top for telling your story, submitting a story, and just write a little something and help the folks at CT Equality put together that massive interest that we've heard from personally. That Connecticut ought to treat all of its citizens equally under the law.
Yeah. It's not a hard concept, is it? Treating everybody equally, but it's amazing how somehow it doesn't quite happen. And yeah, so the CT Equality thing is really cool, and we've sort of gotten involved with them. And in fact, Sally Tamarkin was on the show recently. Sweetheart. And great organization, and certainly, it would be great if people could help out with that. But
right,
it's a wonderful thing. I know you have been fond, Tara. You've been fond of saying that the people around us transition with us.
Right,
and so all these people can
and
tell their story.
all of you viewers out there count now as the people around us.
Yes. Yeah. I went to a wedding. My nephew got married down in Asheville, North Carolina.
Wow. Okay.
And speaking of transitioning the whole family, when my brother introduced me to my nephew's new in-laws, he introduced me as my sister. You know? And so not only did my brother have to transition, but now all my nephew's in-laws had to transition too.
Yeah.
And so it's a big circle that keeps on expanding outwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting, like the pebble in the pond.
Right.
When you think about it, how many people's lives you touch when you do transition. Got 100+ people that I work with who got sent an email one Friday afternoon, and it was a big deal for a while.
Yeah.
And it's happy to say it's not a big deal anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's what usually happens. Is there's a big gossip and all this, and then after a while it's like, oh hum, and it's no longer an issue.
Yeah, which is what we want. We want it to not be an issue.
Yeah.
Except for a few new people when I still occasionally get mail under my old name, and they can't figure out where to deliver that mail to.
Yeah. And that's right. We want it to just be a total non-issue. Although I do kind of like, when I transitioned at work, I did have a couple of people, customers that weren't aware of my transition. This was some time back. Weren't aware of my transition. Came into my office and said, "Wow, you're so much prettier than that guy you replaced." I was like, "That's okay. You could say that."
I've had vendors call me up on the phone and go, "Oh, really? You have the same last... Do you work with your brother?"
Yes.
No.
Yeah. It's kind of amusing, and
it's kind of amusing.
But yeah, we want it to be a non-issue, and I know, we do sort of challenge some people, but we're human beings,
we may challenge people, but we're not really in their face,
Right.
We just want to be ourselves, and we don't want to make you change the way you feel or anything. We just want to be able to live our life.
Exactly. And I say we challenge people. We sort of challenge people's concepts of, we challenge people's concepts of gender and of various things. And I would like to see a day come when, through education, where that doesn't happen anymore. Where people, it's like, I don't want to say, this is not a common thing, but it's not as uncommon as people think.
No.
And I think it's much more common than people realize. Right. But I would like the day to come when it really doesn't challenge anybody. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in this world and in our society who are very comfortable with the gender identity assigned them based on their birth sex. But there's a large number of people that are not, for whom their gender identity is different or fluid.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, that too is normal.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, that too is part of the spectrum.
And those who feel that their body was born in the wrong gender, there's different strengths involved. You know, some people have to go out and change it right away, but others, it's just like an itch that doesn't go away. But so we're unique. We cover all the spectrum. You know? We're gender variant.
Yeah. Just like everybody else on the planet. We're unique. Exactly.
Yes.
Wonderful point. We actually have a phone call. We should probably take it. I think I know who it is, but... Good evening, NLC Trans. You're on the air.
Good evening, girls.
Hello, Renee.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I think this is wonderful where, you know, we're trying to be recognized, and it's getting much easier as time goes on, and hopefully it will pass next session. But, it makes a big difference from the community, people who you meet, and even in the place you live, it makes a big difference that people get to know who you really are and the real us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very cool. And Renee, by the way, would be with us tonight, except for her car problems. But Renee will be back with us hopefully next week.
Next week, yeah.
And I actually, interestingly enough, got to meet a couple of your neighbors. It was yesterday, I believe.
Yes.
Who watch our show, which was kind of cool.
Very, very faithfully.
Yeah.
And they have told others in the same housing here, and other people in the same project watch the show as well. So
that was very cool.
Out there.
Well, and Renee, I know you've talked in the past about having written that letter and come out to your housing complex, and to your great joy, only had 2 people sneer at you and storm off.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yes.
So I mean,
the majority of the people here are very nice, and they're very accepting of me, and even in the recent past, I had my brother, which was a pleasant surprise. Is coming around.
He had a very strong, visceral reaction when he first found out, right?
Very.
But yeah, after contemplation and talking to his wife, he came around.
Yeah.
He realized this doesn't affect him at all.
Exactly. It's who I want to be and who I really am.
Yeah.
Seeing that, how happy, they both said that, on how happy I, different than what I used to be. This was the biggest issue with them, so.
Yeah. And that's very good, and it was wonderful getting to meet some of your neighbors. That was very cool. I'm always happy to meet.
As a matter of fact, we were sitting out just a little while ago, and the neighbors that you met yesterday, they said, "Oh, the show is coming on. We have to go leave."
Oh, that is so cool.
Well, hello to everyone.
We'll say hello to them. I won't use any names, but we'll say hello to them.